Welcome to another episode, everyone. And this is part 2 of the East Coast Crips crashed out in Corcoran State Prison. But really, in part 2, it's about the up north car because they retaliated and responded versus the East Coast Crips, and it really devolved into a war between the up north and down south. Individuals from LA right there on the yard. To catch you up briefly, for those who did not watch part 1, and you should have, the East Coast took off on the dudes from up north because the dudes from up north were making a lot of money on the yard and making it hard for anyone else to make any money. They had got together, tried to resolve the issue. That did not happen. 2 dudes from East Coast took off on a dude from up north, and dude from up north jumped in, and it was a 2-on-2. And we all are thinking, for the most part, that it's over with because it was just a 2-on-2. They had packed the dude out briefly at first, but then again, his homeboy jumped in to help him. But the individuals from up north are only looking at the fact that the individuals from East Coast had packed their homeboy out, albeit briefly, before his comrade was able to jump in and assist him. But they're still saying, but man, you packed them out. Y'all packed out. Again, this is Corcoran State Prison. This is a level 3. And there are not a lot of weapons being used at this time on the yard, particularly amongst the brothers. It would just be squabbles or melees, what have you, which is a good thing. But there was knife play from time to time. Now, as I said, after the fight, everyone's thinking everything is over. The individuals came right back to the yard, came right back to the building. So we're all thinking, okay, it's pretty much over because it ended up being a 2-on-2. However, when we come out to the yard, there's immense tension on the yard. You can cut it with a knife. And the up north car are walking around, and you can tell that they are irritated. They're not happy, but they're not saying anything to anyone. They're not saying anything to the individuals from East Coast or any other Crips, anyone from LA or anything like that. They're just amongst themselves, but they have a totally different posture, a totally different demeanor, and it looks like they're up to something. This is certainly what I'm thinking. But again, I didn't think so 100% because I'm thinking, are they going to do something? Because it ended up being a 2-on-2. You might really just want to leave it right there. But it's not that I underestimated the up north car because, again, some of these individuals, a lot of them were rather strong. And then it was clear 2 days later, after the incident and after the dudes had come back, that the up north car had indeed cultivated sinister machinations. My comrade came to me and said, "Be careful out here on the yard today. I believe it's about to go down." I said, "It's going to go down? What's up? Who going up?" He said, "The up north car. I think they might try to get off on the dudes from East Coast." To this day, I'm not sure how he knew, how he had this information. But these individuals who be there in prison, they know what's going on. They know the politics. I was young. I had just got there. I hadn't been there too long. Nevertheless, I said, okay. But as I said, I'm pondering this. I'm saying, why are they going to get off on them? It's not going to go too good because the Crips are deep on the yard, and these individuals from LA, they're not going to allow the East Coast Crips to just be attacked. This is what I'm thinking. So I'm walking the yard with the homie, and I'm watching. I'm watching the up north car, yes, indeed, for my own safety. And I see in real time the individuals from the up north car split. They were all walking together, conversing. And then they went to the side of the yard where they normally hang out at, and they were conversing right there. They had stopped walking their track. Shortly after the conversation, they split into like 4 different groups. I'm watching all of this. And I'm watching Flux and Casper from East Coast, the individuals involved in the situation. And I'm wondering if they understand what's going on, if they're peeping what's going on here. And they're watching them as well. When they make their split, apparently the individuals who were charged with kicking off the attack, they were ahead of the group. And Flux and Casper, they sitting together right there on the yard. And they just chilling. And the dudes come on, they're walking around the track. They get to where Casper and Flux are at, and then they just get off. It's about 5 dudes from up north. It's about 5 of them. And it's only Casper, Flux, and it's one other dude that's out there from East Coast that's with them. They get off. Dudes from up north, they attack. Bam, bam, bam. I don't see any weapons. They're just using their hands. It's mano y mano, it's fisticuffs, but it's 5 of them. It's a 5-on-3. And they Casper getting off, Flux getting off, they out there squabbling. No one is really hitting the ground. Actually, a dude from up north ended up hitting the ground. One of the dudes got caught with a good one, bam, he hit the ground. But he jumped right back up. It's a melee. It's a good squabble. And you hear the police yelling, get out, get out, get out. So I'm looking around, I'm seeing, I already know it's about to go up. Because there's 5 of these individuals on just 3 dudes from East Coast. And there are no more East Coast on the yard, but the other Crips from LA are not about to let this transpire. I know enough about the politics already to know this. And as the police are yelling, get out, you hear the police's cries and demands growing more urgent. Get out, no, get out. I'm like, because now you look up and you see dudes running across the yard. Crips running towards the melee. Individuals from LA. It was even a dude from Broadway. Gangster Crip that ran over there. They had beef on the yard, but this is now devolved into an LA versus up north situation. The other groups from the dudes from up north that had broke off, they converge over there on the yard as well. And now it's just going up. It's really about a 10-on-10 or something. And they went on for a while. The police had to come over there essentially and start swinging their billy cups because the police are spraying, get out, get out. And they won't stop. They on the ground wrestling, fighting, choking, kicking. I mean, it's going crazy. It looked like the WWE, but it's the real thing. It looked like it's just because they all in one concentrated spot. And I'm like, man, and everybody's watching. We all got down, but everybody's watching clearly to see, if it's going to end here, if it's going to spread or what have you. So everyone is on guard. And we see the individuals that are taking care of business, but really everyone was taking care of business on both sides. The up north car stood up for themselves. They attacked first because their homeboy had been packed out, and they felt like he had no reason to be packed out because they had not done anything wrong. They were just on the yard making money, and these individuals wanted to make money also, understandable, and they had no room anymore to make any money because these dudes from up north had came and taken the game over. They were getting it in by the boatloads and giving up 3 or 4 times the amount that these other individuals who had been making money on the yard were giving up. So now these individuals are no longer making money. This is what all of this started over. So they're upset trying to tell the dudes from up north, man, y'all can't be doing that. Y'all can't give up this amount. You're going to mess up the economy on the yard. The up north car didn't back down, said you can't tell us what to do. They packed one of them out, even though his homeboy, fortunately for him, was there to jump in pretty much immediately. But the up north car had already taken umbrage to the fact that he had got packed out at first. And yeah, I was surprised that they got off like that strategically on top of that. Not because I thought that they were soft. As I said, I knew that they were not. I just didn't see them as being as strategic as that. And really, as having the moxie to take off on some individuals from LA, some prominent individuals on the yard from East Coast. But this is prison, and everyone's going to save face in there. Everyone has to do what they have to do. And if you don't do anything, if you do not retaliate and or respond, then your career is over. You're going to be looked at as a lame. So they felt like they had to respond, and they did. And it went up out there. The police finally got a hold of the situation, finally. And people were leaking. When the police had to come with the little rubber cuffs, and they started cuffing. There was a lot of people involved. And as they taking some dudes off, people are bleeding. They coughing, choking because they got all this mace in their faces. The police was over there spraying profusely because they're trying to break it up, and they won't stop. The police had to physically at some point get in there and break it up because no one would get down. And it went on for some time. And so some of these dudes are leaking. Some of these dudes their face is already swollen as they're being walked off. It's already swelling up, eye closed, sniffling, snot coming out their nose because of this mace. It looked like Armageddon out there. But they went to the hole. But once again, not even everyone went to the hole. Just a few, maybe half of the individuals went to the hole. But then they came back within a few days because Corcoran was corrupt. So they didn't really care about this sort of stuff. And they brought them right back, but it had pretty much ended there. They had to melee. They put some of them on a different yard, put some of them on B yard, split it up, broke it up some. But for the most part, a lot of these individuals was right back on the yard a few days later, but nothing else transpired over there. They had talked, worked it out. They both, no one felt slighted. No one felt cheated. No one felt like they had lost. So that's when you're able to make peace, when no one feels like they're behind in the score. So that's what they were able to do. Let me know what you think in the comments. But it went up north versus the Crips, really. Quite a few Crips from LA. First, it was just the East Coast, but as I said, they were not that deep on the yard. So individuals from LA felt like they had to get involved. They had to have their back against the up north car. And they jumped in, even individuals who don't get along with East Coast in LA. But again, once it turned into a LA versus up north thing, none of that mattered. It all went out of the window. Can't we all just get along? Let me know what you think in the comments. Stay safe and stay free, people.